everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Walk. My name's Gareth, and today I'm in Stoke-On-Trent, the metropolis of Stoke-On-Trent in Staffordshire. I'm here to look at the remains of Chatterley Whitfield Colliery. I'm also going to take a look at the branch line that once attached to it. Now, this colliery was mined from all the way back in the 1300s up until the early 1980s. Not without its tragedies. It was a massively significant coal mine in the United Kingdom. It was actually the first mine to ever bring out 1 million tonnes of coal in just 1 year. But more important than all of that, there's remains. Now I've timed that perfectly. That's the main line there. But this fencing here, that's the start of the branch line that served the colliery I'm looking for. So let's get Google Maps up. This is where I'm going to start the walk, in this wooded area next to this beautiful fishing pond and lake. This is where the colliery branch once emerged from the main line. I'm going to follow it all the way up through a couple of housing estates on the track bed until I get to the site of Chatterley Whitfield Colliery. And as you can see just from the Google images, wow. Speaking of wow, doesn't look like much, looks just some trees, look. Hang on. There's actually rails in there. See, there's a proper, strict do not come in fence, which I'm not going to argue with. But there you go, folks. There's track down as well. It's quite a few sidings, I'd say probably at least 3, maybe even 4. There's a couple of wagons there as well. It's a beautiful sunny day today, folks. Absolutely loving it. Sorry if I'm blinding you though. I could just swap sides, wouldn't that make it loads easier? Still loads of tracks there. So I'm going to follow this. Now, it comes around something called Westport Lake. And normally when you see lakes like that next to railways, they're normally kind of reservoirs that were attached to collieries and stuff. This one isn't. This was a fishing lake going all the way back. And if you look at old maps going back into the late 1800s, you'll see that it basically was then what it is now, which is a beautiful little fishing lake. That's beautiful, especially where it's right in the middle of the city. But look, ladies and gentlemen, and ye shall find. We've got a bridge here, or rather we had a bridge here. Got a unicorn as well, so that's always good. That's double track, isn't it, coming over here, I'd say. It becomes single later on, but that's double track, and that would have gone across here. I don't know if this was always just, a little pathway. Now we lose it, but if you come round, and you'll see it's subtle, but it's an embankment. Oh, got flown at by a duck then. So this is the embankment. So it would have gone in between the two lakes, which is pretty cool. Now I'm about to go past a kids' play park, so I ain't going to film that, obviously. But when I get to the other side of that, there's another clue. So here it is. I've just come to the side of it. That's the track bed going over the top, but I'm going to come down. Here's the Trent and Mersey, I think, canal. But I'll go underneath because you've got a double deck. It's a chocolate bar, that, isn't it? Mate, I tell you what, I got flown at by another bird. But there you go. So that's, oh, sorry buddy. That's a road now, but it was once double track. So let me come up. Ooh. And you can see they've got a nice little cafe and stuff like that. One's the road and one's the pavement. I always wonder how many people notice stuff like that. For me, like, I'm a bit of a geek, and I'm sure you are and all. So you drive over that and go, this is a railway bridge. But obviously, it's a very popular place. People are riding over it on their bikes, and a lad just flew past me on a scooter, and I bet they don't give it a second thought. Oh yeah, this was a railway. In fact, they probably don't even care, to be fair, but I care. Here we go, we're straight into a tunnel. No, it wasn't a tunnel. It was a bridge. Now the other side of it, I think is a bit clearer, whereas this side, that just looks like a subway underneath. Do you know what I mean? In the middle of a housing estate, you get those subways, don't you, sometimes when there's a main road going through it. But The other side, I'm pretty sure there's some of the, oh mate, that voice, sound like Phil. There you go, it's a bit clearer now. Still modern though, isn't it? But this colliery was still open up until the early 80s. Now, of course, at the start, I said that they were mining coal at the site of this colliery in the 1300s. And I know what you're thinking, because it's what I thought. What? How are you digging deep coal shafts, deep down into the ground in the 1300s? Well, they weren't. Actually, in that area, the coal came out the surface, something they named foot rails. And so in the 1300s, obviously, you could just see it, so they could take it. And then famously in the 1400s and the 1500s, monks from a nearby monastery were tasked with mining the coal in that location. So there'd been loads of individual enterprises the whole time, and then it was only really the 1800s that it expanded into this massive, you know, Chatterley Whitfield Colliery that's very, very famous. But they'd always been mining coal there for centuries and centuries and centuries. We've got another one, folks. Again, you can see the blue brick on the top, so you can see that was a bridge. But I mean, it must be to strengthen it structurally, mustn't it? I can understand why, but I prefer it to be a normal bridge, to be honest. As you can see, it's exactly the same, the other side. Okay, so I'll keep following it then. As you can see from the drone footage, the sort of row of trees just goes through the area until you get to this big opening, and that's the site of the colliery. Now, coal mines expanded massively in the mid-1800s, basically after 1840, when the railways were everywhere. And of course that makes sense, you can ship out far more coal on rails. But this one's interesting, because there was no railway connecting to these collieries around here until 1856, when the North Staffordshire Railway decided to build a couple of branch lines that attached to it. Well, they didn't actually want to do that, which is mad really, because obviously the railway companies made a fortune. They didn't want to. And so all the colliery owners in the area got together and basically lobbied the North Staffordshire Railway. That didn't work. So then they said, okay, fine, we'll build our own then. Well, that got their attention. They didn't want a rival. So at that point they agreed to build this branch line and another branch line coming in from the other side as well. So I've been following the track bed. As I said earlier, you can see from the drone footage that tree line that goes through the built up area. Now, that's not a railway, is it? Well, it was. This is a tunnel, or rather was a tunnel. So now if you look at those houses up there, let me put up this photo and try and recreate this. It's incredible, isn't it, to look at it? So the tunnel plunged in here, big, massive deep cutting into the tunnel, and then underneath these houses, and then it popped out the other side, and that's when we're getting to the colliery. Okay, so I'm walking up the hill. As you can hear, a busy road, unfortunately. The tunnel is deep beneath me. So what I'm going to do is come out the other side of here into another green area that you can see. And then we're, oh mate, cooking on gas. That's what I was trying to go for, but I couldn't breathe. This is the other side. So the tunnel's coming out here. Now I'm pretty sure you can see like an aqueduct, a little pipe going over in this photo. I've been trying to work out whether that's this side or the other side. I'm not entirely sure. I've read up, but I can't find a confirmation. But those kind of trees and bushes there, that's where Phil thinks the tunnel comes out. I say Phil because, full disclosure, I've already made this video. I made it yesterday. Me, Phil and Vinny came up and we did it on our bikes. We cycled it because we were doing 3 videos in one, so obviously time wise we didn't walk it, we tried to cycle it. Anyway, it was the back end of a storm, like it'd been stormy for a couple of days, and then yesterday was all right, but the wind was the back end of it. Anyway, so I get home and I take the footage and oh mate, I didn't think you'd want to listen to sort of 20 minutes of, because that's basically what it was. It was pretty gruesome. Whereas today is beautiful. All you can hear is birds, and there's the chimney in the distance. Oh mate, that's Chatterley Whitfield Colliery, and as you can see, there's the spoil heaps as well. And this would have been the railway line. Of course, it's been landscaped. It would have been a very deep cutting going straight across. I can see the spoil heaps, folks, And there's a nice little remain here. So there's the spoil tips with CCTV poles on them. That's the first time I've ever seen that. And there we go. It's always nice, isn't it, to have a little reference. Remember the Bevan boys. The Bevan boys there, yes, I've covered them before. So the Bevan boys, they're working a lot in Derbyshire as well, at like Lower Hertfordshire Colliery. And obviously when the war was going on, the war effort, obviously you needed as much coal as possible, you know, to fire all the furnaces in Sheffield, the steel manufacturers to make the weapons and all that sort of stuff. And so these Bevan boys really stepped up to the plate in terms of getting themselves down these collieries and working their backsides off. So this is a new bridge, but this is the track bed though. Now where those people are walking in the distance, it's been raised somewhat, and there's those CCTV. All I can think is that people are maybe driving cars or motorbikes and stuff over the spoil tip, and that's why they've put them there. So I said earlier, you know, not without its tragedies. Now, I always mention it because I always think it deserves a mention. Whenever I come on these colliery walks, I do research obviously beforehand. I'm not just making up facts and figures. And there's a few websites out there, and for each of the different collieries it gives you facts about the colliery, when it opened, you know, when it closed, when it was sold, why, you know, whether it flooded, all these kind of things. And then there's always a list of fatalities, and what they have on top of the list of fatalities is a list of disasters. Now it seems disasters are counted as 5 or more deaths. Now for me, do you know what I mean, one death's a disaster, but in terms of that, 5 or more is a disaster. Well, in 1881 this colliery suffered a serious disaster. There was a fire underground. Can you imagine that? Especially given how deep these seams are. You know, hundreds, sometimes thousands of feet underground. There was a fire and it killed 20 men and boys, and that's a really, really bad one. A really bad one. Like 5 or more, they're commonplace pretty much in every colliery across the country. But 20 is a big number. I apologise for blinding you, but there you can see is another CCTV pole. And actually, I'm pretty sure I've just seen a scooterist fly over the top, which makes sense as to why it's there. And oh my goodness, look at that. It's grade 2 listed, but it's seen better days. There's trees not just growing in and around it, but on it. Staffordshire tends to get overlooked when it comes to the coal mines. You know, you hear like Derbyshire collieries and Nottinghamshire collieries, and even like, you know, Yorkshire and County Durham. Don't tend to hear that much about Staffordshire. Well, actually, they were enormous. There was tons and tons of them. But this area is famous for pottery. It's known as the potteries. But of course, you can't make pottery in those kilns without coal. So actually, the collieries here were really, really, really important. And this one was about as important as it got. Apologise for the wind. As you can see, the railway is going through there, so this is a raised area. So if I look down there, that's the actual track bed height. You know, maybe what, 10 foot lower and off underneath there into the site. But look at that. Oh, mate, that's incredible. Now, unfortunately, you can't get into the site. Well, I probably could, but I'd get in trouble, especially if I put it on YouTube. So I'm just going to walk around the perimeter. Still loads to see, like even around the edges, you see loads and loads. It's enormous. And it wasn't just a colliery, there was a brickworks there as well. But actually you find that a lot, because these shafts that go down deep underground, like I say, some of them like 1,000, 2,000 feet, like insane. Obviously they're brick lined. So what they would do is they would have a brickworks on site as well as the colliery. And of course the coal would fire the kilns to fire the brick. So it makes sense, like it's, you know, you're scratching each other's back with that. But oh mate, it's amazing. Now what I'm walking around to now, ladies and gentlemen, is the main entrance. So here we go. There you go, there's a road, although there are rails in it. There we go. 1 embedded rail, 2 embedded rail, 3, 4. So you've got 2 lines going in there. Bosh. And of course the line that we've been following, that's coming in as well. And these were the main gates. Obviously, you know, these are new gates, but this was the main entrance into the colliery site. And as you can see, it's absolutely enormous. Incredible. Okay, now that path goes way off, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go back round that side of the spot. I want to get a good look at those winding arms. Hang on, I've spotted something. I'm going to go round in a second. There's more areas of concrete. So that's where I was just stood. Those rails were coming out. So I was going to walk around there, and I'm going to. That's the line we followed in. More comes off here. So there's another line there, a line here. Let's follow this. Is there embedded rail? Yes, there is, mate. There's embedded rail. Someone's kicked that out, you can see. Someone's unearthed it. Nice one, whoever you are. Oh, mate. Oh, mate. Party started, folks. Look at this. Got another couple of bits and bobs over there, but this is where the party is. Chatterley Whitfield, 1977. Oh, mate. It'd be great if it was cold in there, wouldn't it? Mind you, people would come and nick it. That's incredible. Oh, right. That's done me. Ow, that hurt my knee. Oh, mate, we got buffers. We got buffers. That's incredible. Empty to Pinnock's Wharf. 1891. Oh, mate. So it says 1891, and then that one says 1977. I'm pretty sure this rail connection off this way went in 1977. So what's that? North Staffordshire Railway. Oh, mate. Result. That's proper made my day, that has. I mean, the colliery is amazing, don't get me wrong. Sorry for blinding you. That's incredible, and I am going to walk around the other side of it, but oh, the trucks, mate. So when this colliery closed in the 80s, it was kept open as a heritage centre into the 90s, into about 1993. And as I understand it, sorry about the wind, as I understand it, you used to be able to go underground. And so when they cap off the shafts, as they do with all these collieries, they capped them off, but only to a certain height, and then they kept two of them open so that you could go down a little bit. Obviously, members of the public are not going to go 1,000 feet underground or whatever, but you go down a bit. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with the site now, but like I say, it's grade 2 listed, which is amazing, so you can't knock it down. It's surrounded by a country park. It would be great if they could do something with it. You know, like they have at Plesley and at Bestwood, you know. I know they're in Nottinghamshire, and we're obviously, you know, a good hour and a half from there, but it would be great. It's a shame to not do something with this site. It's amazing. And Stoke's a big place. You're not far from like Alton Towers. And I'm not saying turn it into a theme park, do you know what I mean? But do something with it. You know, play area for the kids and stuff. And, you know, a museum, a heritage museum where you can go in and, you know, if you get some mining volunteers from maybe around this area to give talks and stuff, you could even have a live venue in there, music venue. Mate, I need a job at the council. You could have a live music venue in there, shops, restaurants, just something to, you know, give it a bit of respect that it deserves. Nearly fell over then. Loads of structures in the woods, but as I say, it's all overgrown. It's just growing up all around it, and actually in the summer you wouldn't even see most of that. But I'm over the moon that it's still here. I just think it would be great if they could do something with it, and maybe they will one day, ladies and gentlemen, who knows. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Gutted I didn't get to show you the episode that me, Phil and Vinny did, but honestly it was you wouldn't have thanked me for it. But nice one, Vinny. Nice one, Phil, anyway. And thank you so much. Oh, there's a effing and jeffing graffiti, so I'll try not to, you know, film that. Don't want to upset anyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.